I'm back. It is Wednesday and it is like 30 minutes before noon. And I'm popping in. I'm doing exactly what I told God I would do. And if you caught the last live that I did, I informed you that I promised God that I was going to do 7 lives in October. Seven lives in October. And so this is the second one, 2 of 7, 2 of the second lives. The first live that I did was your mindset. This live is your heartbeat. So 9 times out of 10, if you're catching this live, that means that you have a heartbeat. 9 times out of 10, there's a great possibility that you have a heartbeat. But I just want to remind somebody today that the reason that you have a heartbeat is for you to do something with that heartbeat. It's not that I just woke up this morning, I got a heartbeat, let me do the same thing yesterday and today. 9 times out of 10, if you got a heartbeat today, you've been through some things. If you're living today, 2022, you've been through financial, you've been through relationship woes, you've been through death, you've been through a whole lot of questionable things if you have a heartbeat. And what I'll try to do is anytime that I encourage or motivate somebody, I try to come with the word so you'll know that I'm not just saying this because it sounds good, because it look good, because I need a lot of cheerleaders on the side. I'm just basically sharing some of the love that God gives me. The only thing that I am is an extension of God's love. The only thing that I'm doing is living out my assignment because I gave God a yes. So rather, if you write this down today or you write it down later, but please, I'm asking you to go back and reference to it so you can understand what I'm saying with your heartbeat. So Proverbs 4:23 simply states, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. If you have a heartbeat today, that means that you've been through some things. If you have a heartbeat tomorrow, there are some things that are lined up for you to go through, but the word states that above everything else, no matter what you go through, no matter who you may cross in life, no matter of the dark spaces, the sorrow, the grief, the love, the being walked over, no matter what you go through, I need you to guard your heart. And the reason why you're guarding your heart is that everything you do flows from it. If you're still mad, if you're still angry, if you're still bitter, if you're still in an unlovable space, that's what you're giving. And see, what we have to understand is what we give, that's called a seed. And when you plant a seed, something comes from a seed. It's going to grow. Some things you plant today, you'll be able to see like next week or, quickly, but some things take time. So if you're planting seeds of hurt, brokenness, anger, frustration, grief, darkness, then that's what you're going to see. So the word states, Shamika did not say, the word states, this comfortable, sweet word of a melody state that above everything else that you do, where you going, your bank account, your man, your woman, your job, your car, above everything else that you do, I need you to wake up intentionally every day to guard your heart. If you're connected to somebody that keeps you in your feelings, that keep you walking with your head down, that got you questioning who you are, if you connected to somebody that got you bitter, that got you angry, that's not bringing out the best in you, then you need to go back to the scripture and say, I need to guard my heart. Because everything that I do, it doesn't say a piece of what you do. It doesn't say some of the things that you do. It doesn't say you get to pick and choose what you do. It says everything that you do flows from your heart. See, we can lie about a lot of things. I can tell you whatever it is that I want to tell you, but my heart tells my story. My heart tells you where I've been, tells you where I stand, tells you where I'm going to go. I can't lie with my heart. So I could be a fool and tell you, because people will stand up and tell you that they don't need nobody. It doesn't matter what somebody think of me. I don't even care. See, that's the mouth that's foolish, but your heart. Because if I didn't care what you thought of me, I wouldn't have to tell you that I don't care what you thought of me. I would just move about my way as if I don't care what you thought about me. But if I'm speaking about me not caring what you think of me, then that means that I'm carrying something in my heart. See, the heart don't lie. My lips, my tongue, it can lie, but my heart don't lie. So on this day, I want to remind you of your heartbeat. If you woke up this morning and if you caught this live or if you catch it on replay, then there's a great chance that you caught this because you got a heartbeat. But what are you doing with your heartbeat? Are you guarding your heart? Your heart is precious because everything that you're giving to the universe, that you're passing to your helpmate, that you're giving to your kids, it flows from your heart. And if your heart is unhealed, if your heart is bitter, if your heart is full of darkness, if your heart is full of jealousy, if your heart is full of greed, then that's what's going to flow from it. But nobody knows your heart better than you and God. I can lie to you about my heart. I can tell you the space that I'm in, but I know my heart. I know if there's some areas in my heart that needs to be adjusted or realigned or be looked at it differently, but I have to be woman enough, grown enough, loving myself enough to speak and say, Lord, help me to look at my heart different, because everything that flows from me come from my heart, not that made up conversation that comes from my mouth, but my heart does not lie. And even though I may decorate my words and it may look a certain type of way, if my heart is bitter, every piece of love that I just poured onto you is bitter. You have to go back and visit your heart. And once you do some modifications to your heart, starting with loving yourself enough to get to know what lies beneath the surface. All of this is for you. But what's inside of here, my heart, that's for me. Because everything that flows out of that's me. So I got to love myself enough to get to my heart and speak to the pieces of me that are broken, the pieces of me that does not have answers, the pieces of me that is jealous, the pieces of me that is greedy. You have to be bold enough to speak to your heart. It's not about you being perfect. It's saying, okay, I've done some things. I've been through some things, and I've went through some things that has left me feeling the way that I'm feeling. I don't even know why I'm feeling like this. That's your heart. You walk off in a space and then you're being judged by everybody. You walking with your head down. Why are you carrying these things? Your heart. Go back and revisit your heart, because everything that pours from you comes from your heart. And love yourself enough to say, I deserve to leave more than just broken pieces of me. I love the people that are connected to me enough to say, I'm going to guard my heart, because what I give you comes from that sacred space of what God gave me, which is my heart. Showing up today, doing a pop-up, comes from my heart. Because I remember being in a space wishing that somebody could speak my language, speak a language that was not judging me, speaking a language telling me that God's hands and arms was open for me, speaking a language saying that if I confess what I was feeling, then there was something from it, speaking a language saying it's okay to walk around, but you do walk with silent tears, speaking a language that I I understood, but because God has gifted me that moment, and God says, Shamika, I just need you to do one thing for me. I need you to just pause and encourage somebody. Understand, when you're encouraging somebody, it's not about you encouraging everybody, but it's somebody I'm trying to reach. So when you step up and encourage somebody, I need you to step from your heart. So when I stand in a space like today, or when I stand in a space or wherever God sends me, I step from my heart. There is fruit in there. I've done the work to look at myself in the mirror and say, there are some pieces on me that needs more than a Band-Aid. There are some pieces of me that needs to be redefined. There are some pieces of me that needs to be forgiven. There are some pieces of me that needs to grow. There are some pieces of me that is dark, that needs lighting. But I had to step into a space to say that my heart deserved the opportunity to be healed, loved, respected, growth. You are more than just a heartbeat. If your heart is beating, if you don't believe me, put your hand on your heart right now and tell me if you feel something. But if you're going to operate this day as if the same way that you operated yesterday, not knowing that whatever that you're giving is flowing from your heart, it's time to do some me time. And me time is not about the masses of the people. It's not about putting on a show for the people. It's about you getting off in a space with God and say, do for me what I've never been able to do for myself. Fix my heart. There's some things that are flowing from me that I'm knowing that is bitter. There are some things that are growing for me that I'm knowing that is dark. And it's because people have misused my love. People have ran my name in the ground. But when you step into a space with God and say, do something for me that I could not do for myself, let me tell you what God gives you back. God gives you a new heart. He softens that heart. Not only do God soften that heart, God takes it up another notch. God gives you a whole new name. I walk into the room right now without even telling anybody my story. They said, there's something about you that have changed. You look like Mika. You sound like Mika, but there's a love about you that has changed. I went and I did the work and I learned how to give God my heart. And now that God has given me this new definition of a heart, a new way to love, a new way to see myself, a new way to water myself. I guard my heart with everything there is in me. I've learned I'm one that wants to save the world. Everybody don't want to be saved. You can't come to me with your problems and the only thing you want to do is talk about your problems. If you want to vent about your problems, you can vent and now let's work towards something. Some people like to be bitter and some people like to be depressed. Don't take that on you. Guard your heart. Some people are greedy. That's the only thing they're going after. If that's not you, detach yourself and guard your heart. Some people abuse people because that's the only thing that they know. But if you out of your eyes are able to see how toxic somebody is, pull yourself from it and guard your heart, because what's in your heart is going to flow from your heart. And sometime if you're sitting in a space going in circles, and I keep saying the same thing, it's a different day, it's a different person, but it's the same thing. You haven't done the heart checkup. We get so used to pointing the finger at everybody else. I know that you toxic. My light bulb went off, but yet and still, I haven't removed myself out of the space. Stop looking at somebody else's toxic behavior. What are you doing to guard your heart? Yes, that person in that relationship may have misused you. What have you did to say, God, soften my heart? I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that broken person. I don't want to be that unlovable person. I want to be a person that's full of love. I know the type of love that I deserve. It's not my fault that it wasn't given to me, but I don't want to keep a hold to what somebody threw on me. Help me to redefine. Give me a new heart. And then when God give it to you, You've taken the time to see that your tears cleanse you. God has done something new inside of you. You've laid the addiction down. God have done something new inside of you. So when you step out this time, you got to guard your heart. And you owe nobody no explanation. I cannot entertain you over there, because over there is where my heart was broken. I got a new heart. I got to guard it, because everything that flows from me flows from my heart. So, sisters, brothers, understand that I only showed up today is because I gave God a yes. This message, this word, this inspiration, this motivation is not for everybody, but it is for somebody. And I don't come up for the masses. I come for the one that God has called me to encourage. If you are that one, play this message while you're in the tub, when you're washing the dishes, when you're riding in the car, to let you know what it is that you need to do. If you know somebody that needs encouragement, share this message with them. It's not about them receiving it or viewing it when I want them to receive it or view it. It's about God's timing. I put it out there, and God gonna do whatever God needs to do with this message. If you know somebody, share it. If you know of a sister that needs loving and encouragement, we have a group called The Love of a Woman. Search it on Facebook. Send them that way. The only thing that we're going to do is love them back to life. That is it. So as I'm getting off of here, I'm going to tell you what I always end on the lives in our private group, is that we live in a world that's full of unlovable spaces. I ask you to go out in the world and love on somebody. Take that love that you have and go out and you love on somebody. But before you dart that door, before you leave your bedroom to love on anybody, you first stop and do a check on yourself, and you love on yourself. Tell yourself how much I appreciate you for not giving up. Tell yourself, thank you for staying in the fight. Thank you for understanding that greater is here. Thank you for leaning on God's promises. Thank you for asking God for strength to climb that mountain and not just falling apart, asking for it to be moved. Thank yourself for staying in the fight. Love yourself through whatever it is that you're going through, because let me tell you something, there is power in love. And when you use your love and you team it up with the Father, with the great I am, eyes have not seen and ears have not yet heard of what it is that God has with your name on it. I love you. But as much as I love you, I serve a God that loves you so much more. A God that intentionally places people like me on pause at any time of day just to reach somebody. I love you. Have a fantastic day, and do it in love. You are more than just a heartbeat.